Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're breaking down a really important development for the Pakistan Air Force and its F-16 fleet. Something that's been in the news but not really explained properly. Very recently, the U.S. State Department approved a new support package for Pakistan's F-16s. You might have seen the headlines, around $700 million, roughly 700 different defense items, and a lot of people calling it a game changer or a massive upgrade. In this video, we're going to cut through the hype and look at what's actually going on. What exactly is inside this $700 million package? Is it really a game changer or just routine support? And how much does it actually help the Pakistan Air Force in practical terms? By the end of this video, you'll understand not just the hardware, but also the strategy behind it. Let's get started. First, let's get the big picture straight. The U.S. has approved a package worth around $700 million related to Pakistan's F-16 fleet. But this isn't $700 million of brand new shiny weapons being dropped out of the sky for free. The breakdown looks roughly like this. About $37 million is classified as major defense equipment. That's the actual physical hardware, the systems and devices you can point to. The remaining around $650 million is for support, training, maintenance, spare parts, software, and integration. In simple terms, the U.S. is not gifting Pakistan $700 million in weapons. Pakistan is going to pay for this, and most of that money essentially goes right back into the U.S. defense industry in the form of services, training, and support. So before anyone imagines $700 million worth of brand new missiles and bombs pouring in, that's not what this is. This package is much more about keeping the existing F-16 fleet relevant, safe, and connected in modern warfare all the way out to around 2035 to 2040. Because the reality is, technology is moving incredibly fast. Without these kinds of upgrades, F-16s would slowly slide into irrelevance. They'd become harder to integrate into modern, networked battlefields. And eventually they'd be more of a liability than an asset. So think of this as a life extension and brain upgrade, not a completely new weapon system. Now let's talk about what's actually inside the package. One of the headline items is around 92 Link 16 tactical data link systems for the Pakistan Air Force's F-16s. So what is Link 16, and why does it matter so much? The easiest way to think about Link 16 is this. It's a high-speed, secure, military-grade data network that connects aircraft, AWACS, air defense systems, and ships together on the same digital battlefield. Instead of every pilot shouting over the radio, "Where are you? Where's the target? Who's locking who?" Link 16 allows them to see where friendly aircraft are, where detected targets are, what threats are active, who is engaging what, all in real time directly on their cockpit displays. It reduces radio chatter, reduces confusion, and builds a single, shared tactical picture. This is what people mean when they talk about network-centric warfare. And it's not just F-16s. Link 16 is used by F-16, F-15, F/A-18, AWACS aircraft, Patriot missile batteries, and many NATO warships. So if Pakistan wants its F-16s to participate in high-level exercises and operate at a modern standard, they can't show up with 1980s-era communications. You can't bring an 800 cubic centimeters Mehran to a race where everyone else is in Ferraris and expect to compete under the same rules. These Link 16 units are about making sure Pakistan's F-16s can still play in that environment. The second major item is the N/APX-126 Advanced Identification Friend or Foe system, usually referred to with Mode 5 IFF. This is absolutely critical for modern air combat. In today's battles, you're often engaging targets at beyond visual range, 50, 80, even 100 kilometers away. At those distances, you can't look out the canopy and guess, is that my guy or the enemy? IFF Mode 5 is an advanced, encrypted system that tells your aircraft and your pilot that radar contact is friendly. That other one is unknown or hostile. It greatly reduces the risk of friendly fire shooting down your own aircraft and improves coordination between fighters, AWACS, and ground-based air defense. It's a NATO standard encryption system, and it's used across radars, air defense systems, fighters, and AWACS. Without a modern IFF like Mode 5, you're basically trying to fight a high-tech air war with half the picture blurred out. Next, let's talk about secure communications and encryption, because a big part of this package is about protecting information, not just sending it. You'll see items like KY58M Secure Voice Encryption Units, KIV78 Cryptographic Applique for Link 16 data, and simple keyloaders like the /PYQ10 style devices, used to load encryption keys. Here's what they do in simple language. The KY58M handles secure voice. When pilots talk to each other or to ground controllers over VHF or UHF radios, this system encrypts their voice communications. So even if an enemy is listening on the same frequency, what they hear sounds like scrambled noise, not clear instructions. The KIV78 is focused on Link 16 data encryption. All that tactical information, positions, targets, warnings, is extremely sensitive. You do not want the enemy intercepting that in plain text. The KIV78 encrypts those Link 16 messages so that only authorized, properly keyed systems can read them. Then you have the simple key loader devices. Think of them as rugged, military-grade USB sticks plus authenticators. They store the encryption keys and load them into all these secure systems, radios, IFF, Link 16 terminals. Without these key loaders, your radios and data links can't run in secure mode. You can't update or change cryptographic keys safely, and your systems become much more vulnerable to interception or manipulation. They also act like a kind of gatekeeper. If you don't have the right device with the right keys, you don't get to change settings or push new configurations. That protects your systems against tampering and hacking. So this whole group of items, KY58M, KIV78, key loaders, is about making sure that whatever information the F-16 sends or receives is not only accurate, but secure. Now, another piece of this package is the ADU-891 missile adapter units. This sounds technical, but the concept is fairly straightforward. Your F-16S computer talks in one language. Your missile, for example, an AMRAAM, expects data in a slightly different format. The ADU-891 sits in between as a translator and adapter. It makes sure that targeting data from the aircraft is passed correctly to the missile. The missile understands the commands it's getting. The interface between aircraft and weapon is reliable and safe. Without proper adapter units, you might be able to hang the missile on the jet physically, but integration would be unreliable or impossible. You'll also see inert Mk-82 bombs mentioned. These are training bombs without explosive warheads. They allow pilots to practice delivery profiles, release parameters, and accuracy without the cost and risk of live munitions. On top of that, there are a lot of test and support equipment, integration tools, and training packages bundled in. That's where the bulk of the $650 million support piece really goes. Training pilots and ground crew, providing technical support, supplying spare parts, performing software updates and system integration, making sure everything works together as advertised. Now let's step back from the hardware for a minute and talk about the strategic and human side of this. This package is not turning the F-16 into some brand new, never-before-seen superweapon. You're not suddenly getting hypersonic missiles or stealth capability. But it is doing a few very important things. First, it's extending the relevant life of Pakistan's F-16S. With modern data links, secure comms, IFF Mode 5, and up-to-date support, those aircraft can remain operationally meaningful out to around 2035 to 2040 instead of fading out much earlier. Second, it's massively important for human resource development. when Pakistan Air Force pilots, engineers, and technicians work with Link-16, Mode 5 IFF, modern encryption and key management, complex integration between aircraft, missiles, and networks. They are being trained on current top-tier technology. Tomorrow, when Pakistan goes into the market to seriously consider a new generation fighter, those same people will be able to say, "We need a jet that has at least Link-16 level networking or better. We need secure voice and data as a baseline. We need advanced IFF and network-centric capability built in. You can't demand what you've never experienced." This package indirectly helps Pakistan define the requirements for its future air combat fleet. Third, it keeps Pakistan's F-16S compatible with high-end exercises and potential coalition environments. You can't show up to a modern exercise where everyone else is sharing a common digital picture and you're still relying on analog radios and guesswork. These upgrades keep Pakistan in that conversation. Now, there's also the India angle that people often bring up. Back in 2019, when Pakistan and India had that aerial confrontation, Pakistan used F-16S with AMRAAM missiles, and India later presented AMRAAM debris to the US as proof that those missiles were used against them. India essentially went to Washington and said, "Look, this is your missile. It was used by Pakistan against us." The US has never been comfortable with the idea of Pakistan using F-16S aggressively against India. Historically, F-16S were given partly to give Pakistan some capability, but also to maintain US leverage and oversight. Fast forward to more recent conflicts, and you see a clear shift. Pakistan's frontline combat roles are increasingly being flown by Chinese origin platforms, JF-17 Thunder, J-10C, and Chinese weapons. Those aircraft and weapons have been used effectively against high-end Western and Russian origin systems. So what this F-16 package is really doing now is keeping the F-16 fleet safe, modern, and networked, making sure they can still play a role in air defense, high-end exercises, and specialized missions, while much of the heavy combat lifting moves toward newer platforms. So, is this $700 million package a game changer? Let's be honest and very clear. In terms of new offensive firepower, no, it's not a game changer. You're not getting some completely new category of missile or bomb that transforms the battlefield overnight. In terms of sustainment, networking, safety, and future flexibility, it's actually very significant. Keeps F-16S operationally relevant for another decade or more. Dramatically improves situational awareness through Link-16. Reduces the risk of friendly fire with advanced IFF. Protects communications and tactical data through encryption. And upgrades the skills and knowledge of Pakistani pilots and engineers to a higher technological standard. If I had to put it into one simple sentence, this package is not giving the F-16S brand new teeth, but it is upgrading their brain, voice, and nervous system so they can still survive and fight in a modern, digital, networked war. That's the real story behind these $700 million. If you found this breakdown helpful, hit the like button so more people can see a clear explanation instead of just headlines. Make sure you subscribe to the channel for more defense analysis and detailed breakdowns like this. And I want to hear from you in the comments. Do you think this $700 million F-16 support package is worth it for Pakistan? Should Pakistan keep investing in F-16S until 2035 to 2040, or focus more aggressively on new generation jets instead? Drop your thoughts below. I'll be reading your comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.